Hello everybody and welcome to the faction overview for the FATIMATE Caliphate, also known as Egypt. It's being played as by SaphirePhoenix. Now, always a heads up before this series, remember it's an early era campaign, stainless steel 6.4. Now, as you should know, if you haven't already watched the first part, go ahead and do that. We're doing this series in each video in 4 separate parts. So it's going to be the map overview and its strategical advantages, its starting position on the actual campaign map, the alliances and enemies it should make for the faction, of course, and then at the end of the video we are doing a unit overview. Now, you're most likely watching this on my channel, possibly Sapphire's channel. He's welcome to upload this on his channel as well. But for now, let's get into the map overview. Now, this time, thanks to Egyptian Viking, we will be using a more correct map. So let's begin. Okay, so unlike last time, we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. Instead of in post-editing, me talking about it, I'm going to be talking about it straight away. So as you see here, we have Egypt just right there on the map. Let's just go in a black color so you can see it better. So this is the FATIMATE Caliphate right here. Now, there's about, I think there's one settlement right there, one settlement here of Tripoli, and there's obviously those scattered ones further on. Now, as you see to the east, that would be the most logical allies, as this faction, this is me by the way, Dank, and this faction right here, I'm not sure about the Byzantine, no, but these two factions right here are both Islamic factions. Now obviously you have a clear enemy right there in Christian faction, but it should work out with these two factions, some deal about it getting these lands, maybe this faction getting those, etc. And then it should look to expand west immediately. I think an alliance with the Moors would be very strong, because by turn 1 I think most people won't have gone anywhere except maybe something in Europe here, but we're not too worried about that. So we're going to go ahead and shrink the map down to about the things we want to see. So let's actually just go ahead and shrink it down to something like that. Yes. Okay, now so if we go to brush, this is turn 1 still, I believe. This will be turn 1, okay? No one's going to really conquer anything. Maybe some forces are already getting sent out to some new areas to conquer them. But this will be by turn 2, I believe. It'll look something along the lines of this. For these other factions, of course. And neighbors, that's not very kind for you to making such loud noise. Okay, so where Egypt should strike. Now I hope you guys want to tell me in the comments if you like this sort of view better or the editing and post-production. Now the great advantage of getting this coastline early on, this is just one settlement that controls all of this. So this means you actually have trade partners available to Italia and to all of Greece and further into the Westerlands. I know you already have the port of Alexandria, but it's quite further back. So if you just march your troops east, west, you can capture this settlement, I think by turn 3, and you should have a very large income from trade partners. Already a good income for Egypt, as obviously it's a very wealthy province, so that may be willing to start war with the Crusader states here, possibly over these rebel settlements, but I think it will 100%. Obviously I'm not sure what will happen. This is all just speculation, of course. I think Sapphire should get this settlement, this rebel settlement right here, and then in turn 4 look to push onto this southern settlement. No need to worry about all that, that's quite further away, and then it should immediately, Egypt should point its attention eastward. The Moors are going to be really worried about either getting this land here or the land further on in the west in southern Spain. So I think it's very doable to get these 3 settlements and possibly even these settlements right there. Probably because that number's there. It's a big push to try and get Carthage right there, but this is what it should do. There's not many enemies within the region apart from obviously the Papal States, possibly the Byzantine Empire, and further on Egypt. So now we're going to go ahead into alliances and why it should do them. So why should they ally with the Moors? Now the Moors have a very strong presence, I should say, in Europe. So if Egypt's willing to expand this way, it can definitely push into Europe in further stages. So it definitely needs an ally in Europe, which is the Moors. And obviously controlling the Mediterranean with your allies would be very, very important, which is why it's important they take out the Papal States. The Papal States is the only thing standing between them and Turkey. So if Egypt takes out the Papal State along with the help of Turkey, this land will regard in regard to where the brush is will join to Egypt and Turkey. So let's just say Egypt gets these southern little settlements here. That means it and its allies already control the whole southern peninsula, the whole eastern peninsula, which isn't that big, but they control that nonetheless. And then obviously I think the Turks have a big target right here to push into the Byzantine Empire. So already I'd say that could happen in about 6 or 7 turns. You already have all the southern coast, all the eastern coast in your command. That gives you a very strong presence in the navy. Now, obviously, there's not much to expand down this way, or this way. So, the logical option would be to ally with the east, ally with the west, and push north. That's at least what I think would be the most logical. Now, it also should ally with the Khwarezmian Empire, which is myself. The reason being, the Khwarezmians have a very strong position to push north, and obviously northwest, to help remove the Byzantines from power. And once the Byzantines are from power, it's just basically just tank it this way. You have allies on your left, you have allies on your right, but obviously the Sultanate, which is the Turks, can't be the only ones pushing this way. So the Turks have basically the middle lands done. Egypt will kind of sweep in underneath, and the Moors will take the west. That means the Khwarezmian Empire can take the northern settlement, and you basically have all of Egypt. Now, that's just all very well and done, but obviously there's going to be betrayals. You might have to fight this way, I mean, rebellion. Of course, nothing is for sure. This is all speculation, but that is what I believe what will go down. Now we're going to head up into the next segment, so that's pretty interesting. Let you guys tell me to let me know if you guys prefer this brush method so you can actually see what I'm talking about, or if you do not like it and you want to go to the old ways. So we're going to be transmitting now into the next section, so let's do that. Hello, and as you see here on the starting map, this is exactly what he'll start out with. Remember, we're on an early era campaign. I'm guessing this is the Nile, don't quote me that. So we have Luxor settlement here. We have a couple of just, you know, normal tier units. Obviously it is early, as I said. So what he's most likely going to want to do is get a merchant on that silk straight away. Probably send this unit to Cairo, and then further push into Tripoli, like I said in my strategical map overview just then. Let's just turn the volume down. Okay, so he has this really nice, strong fortification with this triple settlements here. This is where his faction leaders will be. Yeah, that's a faction member. This is another faction member, and this is another faction member. Okay, so this settlement, when lost, is most likely going to go to the Crusaders, and they want to say, hey, we just lost the settlement of Jerusalem, we want that back, and they've got to call it a crusade. Now remember, only crusades are disallowed in this faction, so that's good. We're just going to set a spy up. As you see, there's 2 rebel settlements here, Damascus and Acre. This papal city right there, so let's just push him out. That city right there is very vulnerable. The rest of his the house he's allegiant to is all the way up here in the north. Now remember what I said about how they should eliminate the Papal States? Turkey right here can easily sweep in, probably take Damascus and Acre after they've reminiscent and wasted these territories, but 100% what should happen is push this way, push Christianity out of the Islamic territory, take Jerusalem, and order the Turks to just leave all these rebel settlements here in the east. Don't worry about these rebel settlements, but send from his Seljuk cities south to take these settlements up here in the north. Now remember, this is what he sees, so he can't actually see these settlements unless possibly he gets in alliance with the Turks, but maybe better to keep that a secret. Right, so let's just see what his settlements start off with. You can have a look there. Have a look there. That's probably one of his better cities. These two right here. He's got this southern settlement. And we're going to have a look at the faction family tree. So I'm not going to try and pronounce his name. He has 2 faction leaders. Okay, that's not that good. Now, the good thing is he does have some generals. He doesn't just have family members. So that's his faction leader. This is just a general, as I said. That's just a general as well. So that's pretty helpful. Because then if they die, I guess it's not too big of an issue. And if they do succeed well in a battle, for example, if I send Wadia al-Hajjaja to take Jerusalem, or I send this guy to take Jerusalem, you know, they're going to increase. He won't be able to be adopted. Oh, that's a very bad command right there. Don't want to send him in. Hopefully the faction leader's got some better stuff. He doesn't really. So the faction leaders aren't that good. But I'm suspecting the generals aren't that bad. Let's have a look. So he's okay for a general, I guess. But if he does well at the Battle of Jerusalem, or this guy does, for example, they'll actually be able to, he'll get a little menu saying adopt. Now, what I would be doing personally as a Croatians in this campaign, I want to be adopting every single person I can get my hands on, because that means you can build forts anywhere where you want, and you want to get at least a general in every unit, or adopted family members. That really helps, because you can see all of your country. You can hire mercenaries at any point in time that you're struggling. Public order bonuses if you have generals or faction members in them. It's just really handy. Now, I'm surprised he doesn't start off with any boats. Let's just have a look at the list scroll here. Let's go. So he's got all these settlements. So that's quite a lot. And look at that income. Very nice. 2,000, 1,000, 2,000. He's got a great income. He's got these agents. That's quite a good little area to start off with. And it's good that his spy starts in the east. He starts with this military. That's quite a big military, if you ask me. Just the faction leaders, once again, a little less. This guy, you want to get... oh, that's just a captain. Okay, I was going to say, he's got really bad stats right there. So he doesn't actually have any sea units, so he's probably want to go to Alexandria and recruit some boats, because that means he can start exploring much further and start talking diplomacy with lots of other factions. But there's not much he can do in the first couple turns except really push on this way, and then obviously he wants to push west. So now we're going to be looking at the units. So we're going to transition from the battle map to actual, campaign map to the actual battle. So we're going to see Sapphire's available units in the lower tiers and the high tiers. Now just have a look at all his units right here. This is most of what you'll see in his first episode. So let's go ahead and transition to the battle map. I'll see you all there. Okay, so now we're here on the battle map. You can see I've chosen a little scenic sort of view, a very nice little view of the pyramids in the back there. This group right there on my map, that's going to be the first tiers he can unlock. This is the missile unit, pardon me, this is a mercenary unit, and this is sort of the later tier units. Now remember, we are in early era, so you'll mainly be seeing these for the first few turns. So obviously we start off here with our peasant infantry. They have 102 units in there. Really nothing special about them. They're just armed with a shield and a short sword. And this is where you get your interesting, sort of quite useful but sort of cheap units. You have this Arab infantry, which is you got this Arab. Okay, that's literally what they're called. These guys are spearmen as well, and I'm pretty sure they can't go into shield wall. Correct. I don't think these guys can either. So this is a sort of less unit. These guys are the Nubian spearmen. As you can see, you can compare the two right here. These are sort of the more noble version. These guys are a lot more peasants. So basically goes your peasants, then your upgraded version basically with spears. You've got your real spear militia here. They're the real neck and spine of the army. Here we have some interesting units. These are skirmishers, all of these guys. So we have here the Desert Archers, which are 76. They've got quite a nice little range. Obviously, you see the Islamic. I'm not sure what. I don't know the correct term, so I'm not going to even try to offend anyone. Then we have our skirmishers here. You probably don't want these guys as much. They throw little pebble bombs, sort of. They need to be quite close to get in range. These guys are further range. You have your javelin men, your skirmishers. These guys are exactly in the middle of these two. They're quite well armored for close distance aiming, but obviously they can be used as hand-to-hand combat as well, I believe. Now here we have our levy archers. They're a sort of upgraded version of the desert archers. They're very long. They've got longest range out of all these units here. They're just not much better equipped than the desert archers here, apart from their equipment. Now, as you can see here, we have this horse line. So we have the skirmishers here and some skirmishers here, so 40 and 30, and then we have the light cav. So let's have a look at the Bedouin camel riders first. So obviously they're on camels, so I'm pretty sure that means they're less, not as fast, but they also have 30 men. These are just the desert riders on camelback, I believe. So let's put them out of the picture real quick. Let's put you guys there. We have the light cavalry, who are basically not the spear militia that I know they're not called that, not these guys, not the Arab infantry, but they're basically the Nubian infantry with these guys as uniform on horseback. So the mix of both the infantry but then on cav. Great for charging in and out, but it really depends on your use of your cav. Now obviously cav missiles and cav skirmishes are very helpful. I think these guys throw javelins. They're the lesser skirmish cav, whereas these guys, yeah, they have bows, I believe. No, what is that? Yeah, they do have bows. Apologies. So they're like sort of more long range, but they're on camels, so slower and less of them. These guys have 40, so these guys you could probably just put in front of your main line and then just pull them out before the enemies come, and then just keep switching them around. Now we have a little mercenary unit here, the Khwarezmian mercenaries. So these guys are actually from my sort of empire. They're very well armored, their horses armored as well, unlike in the first Seljuk army there. You see this roster has 32 units. The heavy cav, they look very fierce and very strong. These guys, they are your tanks of the cavalry sort of legions. Okay, now let's have a look at the heavy infantry. So obviously these two units are heavy infantry, the 78 and 78, both of them, so that's okay. You have your Al-Haka here with the swords, and they just have little shields as well, but they're very well armored. But then these guys are my personal favorite of the infantry units, apart from the militia. They have little batons, I guess you could call them. There's probably a proper name for it. They are very well armored compared to all other infantry units, actually. And now you have your specials. You have these two catapults, really. You have this ballista unit here with 21 as well, just like this one. They are very for open battles like this one. I'd recommend the catapults for sieges. Let's just pump them forward a little bit. They don't take up much room. There, so here we have our heavy cav, and heavy cav. Now I believe this heavy cav of 17 units could make up your bodyguard. Yeah, okay, they are the bodyguard units. And if we compare them to these mercenary cavs here, they're quite similar, very similar indeed. A little differently armored, but that's because of their regions. They do have shields. The horses are very similarly armored though. You can see that right there. Okay, so they are your bodyguard unit. You'll be getting them with your generals and stuff. I'm pretty sure they are purchasable, but not sure why you'd spend the money on that. So we have here our Gulam cav. They are the heavy cav. Once again, they all have small shields, just for stronger, lightweight. They are similarly armed to these guys here in the infantry, just with very long lances, better helmets, and long range. Now we have our last heavy cav here. Obviously this unit has no armor on the body of the horses. This one does. Out of these two, it's probably the best unit without the general's powers and special abilities. Once again, very similarly armored, just a little different style once again. So we're going to have a look at the last cav here and the last unit in this roster. We're going to have a look at the Mamluk archers. Now once again, their horses aren't that well armored, but that's typical of missile cav. Now you see they are missile cav rather than skirmisher cav. This means they are very well equipped for longer range, sort of run and gun missions, if I were to say. But that is the Seljuk Summit roster, I believe. The FATIMATE Caliphate, apologies, roster, part obviously from that mercenary group. So let's go ahead and jump out of the game and to the end of this video. Okay, so obviously we're wrapping up now. So you can see these three thumbnails on screen. Obviously you might be interested in the previous episode, which was Denmark for KODA, the faction overview, and that was turn 1. Now this is turn 2 for SaphirePhoenix, and next will be WarMonger's Turkish Empire. Now you're very interested probably in stainless steel if you're watching this, or just like Sapphire, which I mean that's very easy to do. You can see my Scotland stainless steel series there. You're most likely gonna enjoy that because that's every Sunday. So this series is every Wednesday on my channel, and that's already 8 episodes in, so you can go ahead and already enjoy those 8 episodes. Then on the left you have all factions unlocked. If you've ever wondered how to unlock every single faction in Warhammer, well then that question has been solved. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check out my other content. I really hope you subscribe to me. We just hit 400 subs, and if SaphirePhoenix happens to upload this to his channel, I really appreciate that. But let's get this cringe. Nah, I love this outro. I always think to it. I think you guys will enjoy it. Alright guys, bye bye.